So we were talking about twist rate. How much does that affect the accuracy?
Well, quite a lot if it's not stable enough. But once you hit the stability that you need, at some point, more twist is going to hurt accuracy to a small degree.
So how I see it is, I guess the speed of the twist rate is going to affect the wind drift because I don't know. In my mind, I see it as like as the bullet's spinning, it's like climbing the wind. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so I feel like a faster bullet, if you're going too fast, it's gonna climb too much and it's gonna push too far. If you're going too slow, it's not going to climb it enough and it's gonna get pushed. And so, what is the sweet spot there? Is
So
there one?
you're saying I didn't quite follow that one. Try me
So
again.
okay, so basically how I see it is if your bullet is spinning too fast, it's gonna climb the wind, and as it's climbing the wind, it's spinning, so it's gonna move farther and farther to, in the direction that it's spinning. But if it's not going fast enough, it's not climbing the wind enough, and the wind is pushing it in the opposite direction that it's spinning.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe we're maybe mixing a couple principles here, but I think I'm glad you said that because I'm sure there are people that'll be helpful for. So, a few different things. So, if your twist rate is too slow for the bullet, then it's not going to keep as low of a profile as it's hitting the wind, right? It's going to be circling, spinning, hitting a tiny bit more area, and thus it's going to drag a lot more.
Okay.
Because yeah, we were an aerodynamic shape, but now we're spinning out of control, and so we're hitting a lot more wind around. We're not keeping that aerodynamic profile as we're moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you would always want enough stability so that you can keep that aerodynamic profile. The reason that everything isn't just a 1 in 3 twist is because, well, two things. One, you can spin a bullet so fast that the jacket on the outside and the lead on the inside separate, and can cause major problems. You can even see there are YouTube videos you can see of an over-stabilized bullet that literally spins itself apart in the air and just poof in midair, because they didn't have a fast enough twist rate for the cartridge.
So that's what happens when it's not fast enough or when it's too
Too
fast.
fast,
Okay.
and
So is that
that's
what happens with like a? Because I know 8.6 blackouts. If you're shooting it at long range, it's gonna explode in midair at a certain point. Is that what's happening with that?
well, that would only happen if you were shooting the wrong bullet out of an 8.6 blackout. 8.6 blackout is almost always going to be either a copper bullet or a bonded bullet where they've chemically welded the lead and the copper together so that this doesn't happen.
Okay.
But actually, that'd be sweet to get on video someday. Is if you shoot. So the place that this would happen very commonly is you take a bullet that's very very heavy for the caliber. So, here's maybe an example. So we have the 6.8 Western. Maybe is a good example of this. We have long bullets for the 6.8 Western that's intended to take those. It has a faster twist rate than, say, a 270. A 270 can shoot pretty fast with some bullets, but it's not intended in the original twist rate to be able to take those higher BC longer bullets. And so if you were to hand load one in to a 270, that's where you could lose your stability, and you just wouldn't get a very high BC, an effective BC out at distance because it's just not spinning it fast enough.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So it's pretty important on accuracy, but to a certain extent, it's not.
Yeah, you're right. And so if you're just going out and you're taking factory ammo for your gun, you pretty much don't even need to think about this, right? Because the ammo manufacturers, they've got ballisticians there. They're not going to put a bullet in that ammo that most of the guns have the wrong twist rate for. So it's really not going to happen with factory ammo. The place it can definitely happen is somebody is a hand loader and they say, "Ooh, I'm going to put this new modern bullet in my old gun," and this isn't going to work very well.
So for reloaders, if you're you know, if you're changing bullets, does the difference in length and weight, does that change the twist rate, or is the twist rate kind of set with the rifle?
The twist rate is set in the rifle. So what the twist rate means is in the rifle barrel, the twisting of the rifling, like a 1 in 8 twist means we're gonna that rifling in your barrel is gonna do 1 360 rotation every 8 inches, or 1 in 7 in twist is 1 twist in every 7 inches.
So there's nothing a reloader can do to
Can't change the twist rate. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
just
I mean,
your rifle.
it's kind of, I mean, it's not irrelevant when you're talking about bullets, but there's nothing you can do to change it.
Nothing you can do to change it other than getting a new barrel. And
Okay.
sometimes we see that, like right now, Browning has their 270 that they've switched to a fast twist 270 so that you can do exactly what we're saying. You could take 6.8 Western designed bullets and put it in a 270 because now you have a 270 with a faster twist rate.
Okay, I got it now. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of different like types of bullets. Like when you're talking about, I mean, you have polymer tip and bonded, hollow point, full metal jacket, soft point. What is the what makes those bullets better than the other? I mean, what's the difference between a hollow and a soft point, or a full metal jacket and a bonded bullet?
Okay.
How do I know what bullet is best?
Okay, well, let's talk about the tips first. Oh, you know what? And there is something I should mention on twist rate is, so what we didn't talk about is how do you know that you have an appropriate twist rate for that particular bullet? And the one that I use is just on Berger's website. If you just search Berger Bullet Stability Calculator, you'll just enter in your twist rate, cartridge, everything, how fast it's going, everything, and it's just going to tell you stable, not stable, and it's on kind of a scale of stability.
Okay.
So that's how you would know.
Okay. So polymer tip bullets.
Okay, yeah. So the common belief is, if you want to shoot long range, you got to have that polymer tip. Actually a trademark is ballistic tip, and a lot of people you'll hear calling a polymer tipped bullet a ballistic tip, and I think that's a Nosler trademark. So just a plastic tip on the bullet.
Okay.
Now it makes the bullet look more aerodynamic, right? And it is, and that's why we have it.
It's barely like I mean, I feel like it's just tiny. How does it affect the aerodynamics that much?
Yeah, it's tiny, but it's also like the front bumper of a car. That's what's going to hit the wind the most and start the path of that wind, right? And so, and this stuff is, above my pay. I'm not a ballistician, right? I all I can do is share the information that the companies tell me as I visit with different manufacturers. And so the advantage of the polymer tip is great. We get that. However, the problem with a polymer tip is they're fairly inconsistent. How that plastic is manufactured and set into the bullet. And small variations make a big difference, front bumper of the car. The advantage of going with no ballistic tip, such as you would see on a Berger bullet, I've been asked before, people saying like, wow, people say these Berger bullets are long range things, but they don't even have a ballistic tip. They just have a little hole in the front of the bullet. What the heck? And the idea there is the most consistent shape we can have in the front is the air itself. And so it has a tiny, tiny little hole on the tip of that bullet. And so the air is going in there, and then the air just has to flow around air in that spot. This was a clip from the Backfire Mancast, our podcast that we do every 10 days. Check out the Backfire Mancast. It's the really purpose of it is there are a lot of things that YouTube doesn't allow us to say every week, and that's where we can say it. But here we give a couple clips of things that are suitable for the YouTube overlords.